Warning. The following video consists of a rant/roast towards a certain Hollywood director and his complete disregard for the concerns of the fan base of a classic franchise from the 80s, which he has basically bastardized to fit his own agenda of fitting in with the Hollywood elites. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, you will see soon. This will consist of some extreme foul coarse language. Viewer discretion is to be advised. Well, the second trailer for the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Revelation series dropped, and our fears were indeed confirmed. Teela is the main character, and He-Man is getting pushed to the background because Kevin W. Smith is a godforsaken hypocrite. He said he would years ago when he started, he said he would never cave into the Hollywood elitist snobs. And what happens? He becomes one of the aforementioned elitist Hollywood snobs, hell-bent on pushing a political agenda over telling a good and cohesive story that is faithful and true to the original lore. This is why nobody wants to watch American media anymore. It's gotten too fucking political. Whether it's news, sporting events, TV shows of live action, or even animated shows. Nobody wants to deal with a political mumbo-jumbo crap and sub-message crap anymore. And this trailer I watched this morning took the cake. I'm basically going off what Geeks and Gamers said. Kevin W. Smith, you owe an apology not just to people like me, but people like Geeks and Gamers, people like Clownfish, and everyone else who voiced their concerns about what you were doing to He-Man and telling the truth of how low you have sunk. How the mighty have fallen. And you make me sick, Kevin. You're a self-professed comic book geek, but yet you don't give a damn if you're just pushing a political agenda at the expense of tarnishing a legacy. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't grow up with the 80s He-Man from 83 to 85. I wasn't born for that. I've had to scour YouTube to watch some of those older episodes. My cut of He-Man was the Ocean-produced reboot from 2002 to 2004. Well, Ocean-dubbed reboot from 02 to 04. I looked through the cast list, and there are some jerks littered throughout. Kevin Conroy as Merman of all people. Kevin is a jackass, so it makes sense he'd be put in this. Susan Eisenberg as the Sorceress of Eternia, the Sorceress and the Guardian of Grayskull. I don't remember who is voicing Cringer or Adam. And of course, I mentioned in the last video, Mark Hamill as Skeletor. I don't have a problem with that. He does villains very well. I'm a little surprised, so they didn't bring in the last end of the quote-unquote DC Trinity from the Justice League days. Whether it would have been, aka one of the Superman VAs. And I wouldn't have cared if it was either George Newbern or Tim Daly. Hold on, I got a few spots in my neck to pop. Kevin Michael Richardson being in this, I don't have a problem. He usually pops up in a lot of these animated works. Same thing with Cree Summer and Phil Lamar. Those three, I don't really have a problem with. And it's not because of their skin tone, it's just how commonplace they are in shows like these. But again, basically here's the plot. When the Sword of Power was destroyed, was split, it basically caused a rupture of the magical reserve in Eternia, and now Eternia is dying. If the magic is not restored to the planet, then everything in the universe will go, oh, bye-bye. If you catch my drift. Essentially, it's a pseudo-post-apocalyptic story. Or prevent the apocalypse story. But again, and this is somewhat of a unique twist, but not something we've seen before. Anyone who's seen the 1990 New Adventures of He-Man, which from what I've understood sucked, and killed off the franchise until it was rebooted in 2002, with the Canadian voiceover produced version, it's something we haven't seen since that time point. Another VA I'm at least glad they brought back is one of the OGs, Alan Oppenheimer. But again, he's not playing Skeletor in this. He's playing Mossman, one of the Masters. But my main point, and I'm sorry if I'm constantly getting sidetracked, is Kevin W. Smith should not have been in charge of this project. We should have picked someone who understood. The individual who should have been picked to helm this project is someone who understood and respected the source material, and would have done nothing outside of the plot to change it. Not shove a political and pro-LGBTQIA a promotional message into the shit and shove the titular character into the background for most of the story. You don't do that. This is why nobody gives a shit for Hollywood and would prefer to see Tinseltown burn to the ground these days. Because I'm one of them who wants to see Tinseltown burn to the ground. I'm not going to do it, but I would actually commit the crime. But I sure as hell would love to see Hollywood burn in the recesses of its own SFW excrement. Is nothing worth preserving anymore, and is everything worth bastardizing these days? Especially anything from the 80s. Another thing I found interesting is they gave Cringer his voice back. Why? I don't know. But at least this time around, he's not the cowardly, lazy, stuttery feline that he was in the 80s cartoon. This show airs in 20 days. Friday, July on Netflix in 20 days. Friday, July the 23rd, 2021. I don't have Netflix, so I'm not going to bother with this yellow belly bit of horse gunk that Kevin W. Smith is trying to pass off as a sequel to the OG series. Smith, fuck you. You hypocrite. You overgrown you overbloated hypocrite. If you really gave a damn about He-Man, which you actually admitted to knowing nothing about, if you actually cared for the people who helped you get to where you were, your fan base, instead of catering to the Hollywood elites, you would have never done what you've been doing to this franchise to desecrate it. So yeah, Smith, I hope you enjoy your place in hell when your time comes. Because if there's one kind of person the devil loves, it's hypocrites like you. Smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash from quite a few Kevin W. Smith fans. But you know what? Those who love his more modern work, quote-unquote, the one that caters to the 4%, you guys can go fuck yourselves. Goodbye. Good fucking night. Bang!